If you fly on flight sim but haven't joined VATSIM yet, there's a very specific reason that you keep showing up to videos like this. You like realism, you care about immersion, and you know that VATSIM is the next step. But every time that you get close, there's something that stops you. Now, people still say that 2020 was the best time to start on VATSIM because during the pandemic, everybody had time, the network was smaller, and the expectations of you just felt lower. And if you look at VATSIM's own published traffic history, you'll see that that part is true. Pilot numbers surged in 2020, with them reaching 100,000 users for the first time. But the average level of traffic density, event complexity, and procedural consistency was nothing like what you see on VATSIM today. Back then, joining felt like a low-risk activity. You could make mistakes without feeling like you were in the way, and that made it feel comfortable. But comfort isn't the same thing as being ready. 2020 wasn't the best time to learn how VATSIM actually works. It was just the easiest time to join without feeling exposed. And that distinction matters if you're sitting there right now flying offline using AI traffic or even doing shared cockpit with friends, telling yourself that you'll try VATSIM one day. Now, let's fast forward to 2026. The network is bigger, busier, and more structured. VATSIM's public statistics show that even outside of major events, simultaneous pilot counts today regularly exceed what used to be peak time numbers just a few years ago, with an average of 100 new users joining the network each day, and now an active member count of just over 190,000 people. Events now stack multiple regions and not just single airports, and controllers expect pilots to know the basics before they even connect. And that is the part that makes people hesitate. If you've never joined VATSIM before, what you probably see is a wall of rules, charts, unfamiliar phraseology, and that fear of being the pilot who clogs the frequency. You hear people say that there are too many pilots, too many procedures, and that the network just feels intimidating. And that feeling is completely understandable. And it's not because you're incapable, it's because the way in which people try and learn to fly on VATSIM hasn't kept up with how the network has evolved. Most pilots still rely on scattered YouTube tutorials, outdated beginner guides, or watching streamers who already know what they're doing. And that, my friends, leaves massive gaps. You end up knowing just enough to function on the network in a basic perspective, but as soon as a controller asks you to leave your comfort zone and carry out a procedure that isn't necessarily standard, you feel the pull to hit that disconnect button incredibly quickly. And this is where people either freeze or quit before they've even started. Now, here's the part that most people don't realize. The reason that VATSIM feels more intimidating in 2026 is the same reason that it's actually easier to learn properly now. The network is more consistent and the procedures that you're going to be flying are much clearer and the expectations of you are much more predictable. According to VATSIM document updates over the previous few years, divisions have standardized large portions of their training documentation. So that means that when you learn something, it applies worldwide more often than not. In 2020, two different sessions at two different airports could feel like completely different experiences, and it was all dependent on who was controlling you at that point. In 2026, what's expected of you is far more defined, and for someone starting today, that clarity is not a barrier and it's more so an advantage. So if you fly on flight sim, you already have the technical skill of how to fly an aircraft. What's missing is confidence in a controlled environment, and confidence doesn't come from luck, it comes from knowing what's expected before you connect.